A report out of Florida tonight is a reminder to millions of Americans there is a strange and dangerous vulnerability underground: sinkholes. A man was in his bedroom. The earth opened up beneath the house and he fell in.
Horror struck the little house on Faithway Drive just before midnight.
The house just fell through.
These 911 tapes reveal the terror inside that house.
The bedroom floor just collapsed and my brother-in-law is in there. He's underneath the house.
A sinkhole, some 30 feet across and up to 100 feet deep, opened up directly beneath Jeff Bush's bedroom. His brother, Jeremy, says he tried desperately to save him.
I jumped in the hole and was trying to dig him out. I couldn't find him.
But we've just learned that rescue mission has been called off. That man swallowed up by that sinkhole simply can't be found. And tension is rising as more and more homes here are deemed dangerous. This house and now this house are also in danger of being swallowed up by the same sinkhole that took Bush and his bedroom 100 feet underground Thursday. His body possibly lost forever. How rare is what we've seen here?
Well, certainly you get at least dozens of sinkholes a year, but to have one occur right in the center of a home and certainly to injure and even kill somebody, I've never heard of that happening before.
Friday at 5 o'clock, fears that a San Francisco neighborhood could collapse. Right now, multiple sinkholes are creating a very dangerous situation.
There are at least a dozen sinkholes, not only in people's backyards, but also in their garages and underneath their homes where they can't even fully see how big they are just yet. And the concern with those sinkholes is that there are so many, not only on this side of the street, but also across the street. And since we can't see underneath the street, they're not sure if they're all going to connect, and that's what could cause the collapse.
Ancient Egyptian plagues return. That cloud back there, you see them coming. For folks that don't believe that the Bible is real, the Bible don't lie. These things are so big they look like little birds.
A 5.5 magnitude earthquake in China's southwestern Yunnan province has injured at least 30 people on Sunday. 3 of the injured are reportedly in serious condition. According to state media, the quake destroyed almost 1,800 homes and damaged more than 83,000 others. Over 30 aftershocks have been reported.
The focus of the intense rain has moved north to Mackay and the Wide Bay, where more than 300 millimetres has fallen in some centres.
At Eaton, west of Mackay, 24 hours of rain. It's taken over roads, swallowed cars and inundated cane fields. In low-lying areas, there's water as far as the eye can see. More than 300 millimetres fell across parts of the region by 9 o'clock this morning, and it's not over yet.
Forecasters are also monitoring the possibility of a cyclone forming in the Coral Sea.
At least 9 people have been found dead following a powerful blizzard that swept through the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido over the weekend. Rescue workers near the town of Nakashibetsu uncovered a family of 4. All died in their car as it was engulfed in snow. In the same town, a 23-year-old woman was found frozen to death near her stalled car. In the town of Yubetsu, a 53-year-old man was found dead in a snowy field. He had wrapped his body around his 9-year-old daughter to protect her from the cold.
Residents of the Florida town where a sinkhole claimed a man's life have a new reason to be nervous. A second sinkhole has appeared in Seffner, Florida.
Growing concerns tonight over several large sinkholes in San Francisco's West Portal neighborhood.
Tonight, winds are howling along the East Coast. Low-lying areas in New Jersey already underwater, now under voluntary evacuations.
See how big this massive snowstorm is tonight. There it is on the East Coast, the storm as seen from space.
We are getting tremendous wind off the ocean here. The ocean that, by the way, is getting closer.
Wind so strong, the federal government shut down.
It struck New England after churning past New Jersey, where winds of up to 70 miles an hour caused tidal flooding that left some shoreline communities underwater.
Developing tonight, Florida could soon be in for a major invasion of mega mosquitoes. These aren't just ordinary bugs. They're big. They actually sting when they bite.
Scientists say they are coming this summer. Horror movies have built plots around supersized insects for years, but this time, real research tells us giant mosquitoes 20 times the size of what you're used to could invade Central Florida in just a few months.
There is another war taking place in the Middle East, and this one has nothing to do with brutal dictators, terrorism, or a people's occupied land. This war has to do with rats, and we're not talking about just any rats. We're talking about very large rats, some as heavy as 5 kilograms. That's about 11 pounds. Rats as big as cats. Millions of them roaming around Tehran, according to officials. The problem so serious that Iran has literally declared war on these rodents. They've called out the army sniper units in an effort to pick off these rats, one rodent at a time. Why are these rats getting so big? Two schools of thought. Some say the rats have become immune to the rat poison the city is using, and the chemicals inside their body is causing them to mutate.
A day to most definitely stay out of the water. A shark warning closing beaches in the United States. Not one shark off the south coast of Florida, but thousands of them.
Now, we want to show you the fast and urgent fight underway by doctors in states across this country tonight. They are trying to contain a new bacteria, kind of ordinary bacteria antibiotics don't reach, and even the CDC has called it a nightmare.
These almost untreatable superbugs alter other bacteria so that they fight off drugs as well.
It's resistant to virtually all antibiotics. So when an individual gets this microbe and it invades the blood or invades tissue, curing them becomes very difficult.
Fisheries experts are investigating what caused the death of thousands of fish on the Eyre Peninsula. The juvenile leather jackets have washed up along a 10-kilometre stretch of beaches south of Port Neal over the last week.
Absolutely incredible. I've never seen a fish kill like it in all my time travelling around the countryside.
A rare comet makes its debut in the northern hemisphere, visible to the naked eye. It will give you the best view you could have in years. In fact, some astronomers are calling 2013 the year of the comet as they identify more and more of these flying through space. Does it, though, raise questions about our safety here on Earth?
Dead pigs have been found floating in a river near Shanghai. Officials have launched an investigation. They say there is no evidence the pigs were dumped or had been infected. Water quality tests are now being carried out as the river supplies Shanghai residents with their drinking water.
More than 12,000 dead pigs found floating in one of China's main rivers.
Locals have been finding large numbers of dead pigs floating in their waters. Nobody seems to know why they've died or how they got there.
The Israeli Agriculture Ministry said a locust swarm of biblical proportions had crossed into Israel from Egypt and said it was spraying pesticides to try to contain the problem 2 weeks ahead of the Passover holiday.
This particular group was swept in from Egypt. locust invasion is in full swing with just 2 weeks to go before Passover. That holiday celebrates the biblical story of the ancient Jews leaving Egypt after Egypt was struck with 10 plagues. The 8th plague was the plague of locusts.
It's happening again. A big space rock the size of a city block is expected to head our way next hour. We know that this meteor exploded over Russia just a month ago, last month, and now we have this, and there was an asteroid last weekend. Is this just sort of a weird time, and should we be concerned about a potential impact?
And manatees along the southwest coast of Florida are dying in record numbers.
Officials say this is a catastrophe, as they sometimes find as many as 10 dead manatees a day. Already in just 2 months, they're approaching the record killed in an entire year.
And we have breaking news out west. A magnitude 5.1 earthquake has rattled a large section of Southern California. There are reports of aftershocks.
Mark Mihal and some friends were playing around at the Ambrier golf course last Friday when suddenly Mihal was missing. When his playing partners heard his calls for help, they realized that he had been swallowed by a sinkhole.
As his golf buddies looked on in disbelief, Mihal found himself being sucked 18 feet under the ground, fracturing his shoulder.
Dead fish are washing up on the shores of Rio de Janeiro's main lagoon, and no one is quite sure why.
The Rodrigo de Freitas lagoon used to be teeming with life, but not anymore. It seems that everything that used to thrive in the water has been killed.
America has issued a blunt new warning tonight to Iran about nuclear weapons.
And sharp words today about what the administration sees as America's 2 greatest threats, Iran and Syria. Time is running out for a peaceful solution to that nation's nuclear ambitions.
Big nations can't bluff, and presidents of the United States cannot and do not bluff, and President Barack Obama is not bluffing.
Now to North Korea, a nation that has nuclear weapons and is tonight threatening to use them against the United States, vowing to attack Washington and engulf the nation's capital, quote, in a sea of flames. As you can imagine, this outburst has prompted a strong response from the White House.
The United States is bolstering its missile defense on the West Coast by nearly 50% because of the intensifying threat posed by the secretive nation.
Breaking news now from the war in Syria, and this could be significant. Reports that chemical weapons have been used in that conflict. 25 are dead in a rebel chemical attack in northern Syria.
Heavy rains in Brazil triggered devastating mudslides on Monday, killing at least 16 people. The mountainous region of Rio de Janeiro state was hit by 24 hours of continuous rainfall. More than a month's worth of rain fell in just 24 hours.
Hailstorms with hail the size of eggs have struck southern China. The storm with wind gusts of more than 100 miles per hour have left a trail of destruction in the province of Guangdong.
An unusual tornado and hailstorm has killed 24 people in southern China's Guangdong province. Local officials say 272 people were injured, with 158 of them hospitalized. The wild combination of thunderstorm, hail, and a tornado hit the region with gusting winds of 110 miles an hour. Hailstone the size of golf balls and eggs smashed windshields, as this was the strongest tornado to hit the city since record-keeping began.
A discovery off the coast of Chile that has baffled authorities. Thousands of langoustines washed up in central Concepcion province. Beaches have been covered red as the Dublin Bay prawns were found. Investigators are trying to find out what has killed so many crustaceans in this case.
Thousands of dead fish have washed up on Adelaide's southern beaches.
It's Adelaide's turn. Little leather jackets litter the shore, just like Eyre Peninsula beaches earlier this month. Locals have observed them from Christie's Beach south to Maslins.
Never seen it before and not sure why.
Yeah, wondering about what the cause is.
At least 80 people were injured, 2 critically, as a series of devastating tornadoes ripped across 2 states.
The twisters tore through towns in New South Wales and Victoria, destroying dozens of homes. The trail of damage stretched 40 kilometres.
They were watching the clouds and saw it forming.
Coming for us.
Daniel Clark and his mate wouldn't be laughing for long. Their encounter with this force of nature just kept getting closer and closer.
Oh, stop. Power line just went.
It was building in strength, in speed. It was time to go. With it almost on top of them, they spin the car around and are driving for their lives, hammered by debris.
Get going.
Racing to flee a tornado, packing winds of up to 250 kilometres an hour.
Unbelievable. I can't even describe how crazy it was to be in amongst it.
A mini tornado just happening between the trees. This is like crazy. Oh my God! Look at the tornado!
Along the border, several twisters touched down after 7 o'clock last night.
Whoa! That is insane!
And this was the result. Roofs, fences, homes were ripped to pieces. This was a demolition.
Weather forecasters say twisters with such force are rare in Victoria.
Britain is preparing to shiver through its coldest March weekend in 50 years. Blizzard-like conditions have claimed at least one life.
This is springtime in Britain. The calendar may say winter is over, but the weather says otherwise. A huge swathe of the country is under snow, and the forecasters say there's more to come. Britain is being told to brace itself. It's hard to believe British summertime begins in just over a week, because for much of Britain, this is a winter that just won't end.
We're just outside Denver. As someone said to me today on the way into work, where is spring? More than half the country getting hit with this newest nasty storm. Hundreds of miles of roads already shut down from Colorado to Kansas tonight. Snow and ice is returning to windshields across America tonight, with winter storm warnings and watches up across more than a dozen states now. And in the South this evening, fears of tornadoes because of all this.
It's the winter that just won't release us from its icy grip.
Begin with some breaking news tonight. A flash of light that experts are saying was probably a meteor was seen streaking across the sky along the East Coast. There are reports from Virginia up to Boston and beyond. More reports are coming in tonight. It happened just after 8 o'clock.
There are at least 350 reports of this possible meteor.
While there's been heavy snow in parts of Europe, including the UK, in Kiev it's been so bad that a state of emergency has been declared. 1 month's snowfall, which is about half a metre, has covered the Ukrainian capital in just 24 hours. The city's paralysed.
A man is fighting for life after being crushed by a tree branch during last night's severe storms in southeast Queensland. Several other people were hurt and dozens of homes damaged when the storm hit with fierce winds and thousands of lightning strikes.
Bangladesh is reeling after a powerful tornado tore through villages in the east of the country. The latest reports are that 20 people are dead, 200 are injured and hundreds more are without homes.
More than 20 people were killed and hundreds injured. The ferocity of the wind has left many villagers in shock. The wind was so powerful, even trucks were overturned.
Fierce storm this evening, more than half of the country in its path before it's over. And this video just in tonight from Orlando, Florida. Look and listen to this. Extreme winds blowing right through those front doors at a Lowe's store, blowing shopping carts like toys. You can see the heavy rains outside. In the west tonight, the storm dropping more than a foot of snow in parts of Colorado, then moving on to Kansas City.
Very unpleasant form of deja vu. Again, a dangerous sinkhole opening up in a residential neighborhood in Florida, and this is going on right near where the sinkhole swallowed a man asleep in his bed.
Record amounts of snow are still falling, and just watch. We have a time-lapse video of the snow piling up and continuing to pile up overnight in St. Louis. and it just keeps coming in parts of the country.
We've got some sheep under the drift here. We've been lifting about 40 yesterday digging them out. So what I'm doing is I'm using the dog now. He'll use his nose, and hopefully we'll see an air pocket. It's third day for some of these sheep, and they're heavily pregnant. They're weakened. They're carrying a lot of snow on them. And this is a disaster. It's a disaster for rural farmers out here on the mountain. You know, my family's been collecting sheep the other day. They've got 150 missing. We haven't counted ours. So this is the problem that we're looking at. We don't know what's under all this. We're just finding the odd one. There could be hundreds of sheep lost in Wales. We've dug 40 out yesterday. We'll dig a few out today. You know, this is all we've got is a spade and just brute force, you know, brute power. It's a killer. It is an absolute killer. I've never seen anything like this. It's just bloody heartbreaking. How many more? I don't know.
Visitors to Adelaide's premier beach aren't quite sure what to make of it.
Something totally new, never seen this before.
Hundreds of tons of seagrass washed up onto the beach over the weekend, covering the shoreline. The council's been under the pump trying to clear up the beach before Easter. It's not the only part of the coast that's fallen foul to the Great Brown Plague. Beaches on Fleurieu Peninsula have been coated with seagrass as well. Experts believe the big wash-up of seagrass, fish and dolphins in the past few weeks is no coincidence.
The fact that it's occurring in lots of different bits of the South Australian coastline around the same sort of time points to something that's a big cause.
And just in, a magnitude 6.2 earthquake has just struck in Guatemala, only about 6 miles to the southeast of its capital city. That's according to the U.S. Geological Survey.
A magnitude 5.5 earthquake hit the southwest of Pinotepa Nacional on the Pacific coast of Mexico. Less than 10 minutes later, a second quake hit with magnitude 5.1.
An earthquake measuring 6.1 on the Richter scale has struck Taiwan. There are reports of a 72-year-old woman being killed by a collapsed temple wall. At least 19 people have been injured.
Dramatic upheaval in the earth today on a small island off the coast of Washington state. Residents say it began with a mysterious sound, almost like thunder, and then something terrifying. The earth seemed to crack open.
It was just before 4 o'clock in the morning when the slide hit with such force, homeowners thought it must be a massive earthquake.
I looked out and noticed that we had no more trees blocking the view, and half the yard was gone.
One home was swept away and nearly 3 dozen are now evacuated.
A sinkhole suddenly opens up, swallowing a security guard. The horrifying moment captured by cameras in Shenzhen City, China. Yang Shibing was buried as people tried to reach him.
2 people have been killed and another seriously injured after a wall collapsed in Melbourne on Thursday. Witnesses said there was a sudden gust of wind.
I heard this loud noise, this really loud noise, like a thunder, like bam, like that. And I saw dust everywhere and I rushed out. There were people running towards the wall. It was really bad. It was like a war zone.
Police believe it was toppled by a sudden squall of wind which hit the city between 2:30 and 3, peaking at 102 kilometres an hour.
The UN is appealing for more than $41 million to eliminate a severe plague of locusts in Madagascar. Half of the money is needed by June to try to save the country's crop production. Around half of Madagascar is currently infested, with each swarm made up of billions of insects.
American stealth bombers have just finished practicing an attack on the Korean peninsula. The B-2 bombers, capable of carrying nuclear weapons, flew 6,500 miles from Whiteman Air Force Base outside of Kansas City, Missouri, all the way to South Korea. Pilots then dropped inactive, inert bombs and then turned around and flew back home. This all comes as North Korea ramps up its threats.
A threat, for instance, to carry out a preemptive nuclear strike on the United States mainland.
North Korea is cutting its final official line of communication with South Korea, saying war could break out at any time. My heart is burning with vengeful thoughts, this man says. Such provocation can no longer be allowed. I'm ready to take part in a great war of justice to reduce the US mainland to ashes.
Southern suburbs beachgoers are demanding answers as dead fish continue to wash ashore.
The scale of the mystery continues to grow.
Thousands of fish are washing up dead.
The Indian Ocean island of Mauritius has been hit by severe floods. At least 10 people have been confirmed dead after over 150 millimeters of torrential rain lashed the low-lying capital of Port Louis in under 2 hours, and has now seen over half the monthly average rain for March in just one day.